the trolley problem, Schrodinger's cat, and wait, Galileo's balls? All these are some of the most famous thought experiments of all time. You know what else is a famous thought experiment? The immortal snail. If you spent any time on the internet at all, chances are you've heard of it. But in case you haven't, the immortal snail is a popular internet thought experiment where you gain immortality but are hunted by a super intelligent immortal snail that kills both of you on contact, always knowing your location. Some versions of the thought experiment include you and the snail both getting a large amount of money as part of the offer, but today we're just going to assume that you and the snail are both starting with nothing and around about the same location. With all that out of the way, let's get to the real reason you clicked on this video. What would be the top 5 best stands from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series for surviving and potentially even defeating the immortal snail? Due to popular demand, Markiplier is going to be our hypothetical stand user for this video.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
And before we get into the list, I do need to mention that because of the rules of stands, we know that damage on a stand is shared with the user. Hey, no, get out of here. So what this means for us is that if the snail makes contact with your stand, it counts as it touching you, and you'll both die. Now, before you comment, oh, but the snail isn't a stand user, so we can't see or interact with stands. Buddy, who said the snail wasn't a stand user? Yes, for the sake of the video, I am also allowing the snail itself to have a stand too. What is that stand, you may ask? Well, it's none other than Mr. President. Does the snail get any value out of the stand? I don't know, you can argue that down in the comments. I honestly just wanted an excuse to talk about Coco Jumbo. Anywho, I think it also goes without saying, but no lame stands like Heaven's Door, Gold Experience Requiem, or The World Over Heaven. That would be boring. Now, without any further ado, can snails fly? Yeah, I didn't think so. Can Aerosmith fly? I mean, yeah, of course, that's its whole thing. Aerosmith is a stand from Part 5 that takes the form of a miniature fighter plane that's even got a little pilot inside. It's equipped with a single bomb and 2 tiny machine guns that have infinite ammo, and despite their small size, still pack quite the punch. But of course, these wouldn't matter to the snail. The real reason I chose Aerosmith is because not only is it an aerial stand, meaning it's completely safe from the snail, but it's also equipped with a radar that detects all forms of life that breathe. Wait, do snails breathe? Yeah, snails breathe oxygen. Okay, yeah, cool. So, okay, so yeah, Aerosmith's, dude, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, editing. I'm sorry you have to go through this many takes. You should include like a funny thing here, where like it does the failed takes. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, thank you. Okay, so yeah, Aerosmith carbon dioxide radar would show you the snail's location anytime it gets close to you. This would be a huge help in evading the snail, as one of the biggest worries with this thought experiment is the snail sneaking up on you. But if you always have Aerosmith surveying the area, there's a very low chance to get caught off guard. But the real question, will it be able to defeat the snail? No. Well, let's move on to number 4. Space trucking is a stand from Part 8 that is bound to a deck of playing cards. You know, those rectangular thingies from Balatro. Anywho, it allows the user to store objects and even living things in between the cards. And this can be done to store virtually anything, no matter how large it is in comparison to the cards. We even see it used to keep Sugiri safe while Jobin. Now, since the cards aren't technically part of the stand itself and are rather bound to it, I think it's safe to assume that as long as the snail touches them and not the actual stand, it won't kill you. So as long as you're super careful, you can just trap them in the deck of cards and it can't do a thing about it. Hey, you know what they say, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, am I right? Now, if you just keep it inside the deck at all times, you are 100% safe from— oh shoot, I dropped— Have you ever wanted to have several dimensions exist in the same place at the same time? Or wait, no, I mean, travel between parallel worlds? Or wait, no, well, what does a stand even do? Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, or D4C for short, allows its users to access and travel between parallel worlds by putting themselves or their target in between 2 objects. President Funny Valentine iconically uses an American flag to do this. Now, this ability allows for a bunch of shenanigans, but most importantly, it allows us to exploit the natural rule of iteration that states that only one iteration of a person or thing is allowed to exist in the same world. Let's just say, for example, we use D4C to get 2 iterations of Squidward in the same world.
Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
And if they get too close to each other, they will be annihilated. how will this work against the snail? Well, it's pretty simple. First, you gotta transport the immortal snail to another world. Wait, dude, this sounds like an isekai title or something. Like, I got reincarnated as an immortal snail and was sent to a parallel world to be annihilated by an alternate version of myself. Dude. Anywho, now that there's two immortal snails in one world, you need to carefully get them close together. Look, I know they're hyper intelligent, but I'm sure you can just like shove them with a broom or something. And when they get close enough, they'll both be annihilated without a trace. Because of, yeah, I'm not gonna explain this. Alright, I know I said this was a top 5 video, and I'm clearly including 2 stands for the same spot.
You got too much dip on your chip.
I'm a big liar. Go ahead and cancel me. Anywho, the reason I put both these stands at the same spot is because they have the same exact method of dealing with the snail. Simply put, both of these stands have the ability to erase things from existence. I think you can see where this is going. Oh no, it's the snail! Same sort of thing with cream. Overall, this method is very simple, very easy to use, and very human. Guys, please don't just skip ahead to number 1. You're gonna want to hear these. Trust me. Soft and wet go beyond. I gotta admit, it's hard to say what this thing would do against an immortal enemy, but if we assume the go beyond bubbles erase things in a similar fashion to cream or the hand, I think it would have a good chance of defeating the snail. Except that Josuke can't name it. Notorious B.I.G. Why do you guys like this thing so much? He doesn't do anything. You have to die for it to activate in the first place. And you literally can't die except with the snail. Cheap Trick would not work. You and the snail are both immortal. It'd just be a stalemate. Stop commenting Cheap Trick. I swear to 20th century boy. Before I get to the number 1 stand, put yourself in Markiplier's shoes for a second. Is immortality really even a good thing? We've seen time and time again in books, movies, and TV shows.
Are you sure?
Immortal characters lose their humanity, their sense of self, and overall drive or purpose in life. Really, what is the point of living forever when eventually there'll be nothing to live for? With this in mind, getting rid of the snail entirely might be the worst thing you could do. Instead of erasing it from existence, what if you could keep it in stasis, contained in one location that you'd be able to go to when you feel the time's right? But what stand could allow you to do that? What stand has the power to keep an individual in its indestructible confines, trapped for eternity? Well, it's none other than everybody's favorite stand. Superfly, yeah! Wait, what? Superfly isn't everybody's favorite stand? Huh? Wait, you want me to name one cool thing about Superfly? Dude, how about you name one friend in your life? Superfly is a stand from part 4 bound to a transmission tower that automatically traps one individual inside the tower at all times. If they try to leave when there isn't another person to take their place, it will be turned into metal and assimilated into the tower. And if they try and damage the tower, all the energy will be absorbed and reflected back. Now, since our snail is hyper intelligent, I think it's safe to assume that it'll recognize these rules and will submit to being trapped in the tower forever. Really, the only thing you have to do is wait for it to be inside the tower with you, and then you can just leave it behind and go on with your life. Now, you might be thinking, what if the snail touches the tower? Won't you die because it's touching the stand? Hey look, I never said the snail is the tower. I said it's bound to the tower, meaning that the tower is a regular part of the world that everybody can see, and that Superfly just allows the user to use all the abilities associated with it. The biggest upside to Superfly, in my opinion, is that it doesn't get rid of the snail, but instead, it safely contains it. Now, when you've had enough with being immortal, you can finally go back to the snail, look it in the eyes, and ask, was this a good thought experiment? No. I'm told it was the best. Yes, I know with space trucking, you still have access to a deck of cards. You can do the same thing. And with D4C, you can probably just use a parallel world snail to finish the job just the same. But those ones involve a lot of risk to get in a safe situation in the first place. And with Superfly, it's so much more symbolic and meaningful to have a physical location associated with your immortality. Even if it is just a stupid cell tower. It's my favorite stupid cell tower. Like the video if you want to see more stuff like this. And please subscribe!